Okay, so for this particular baby blanket, I'm going to be using Bernat Softy Baby. And I have to admit, Bernat is probably my favorite brand of yarn. I just love Bernat. And this one actually comes with a free pattern, so that would be fun to try also. We can always do that together later on. And so for the colors for this baby blanket, roll it over here, I have soft lilac. And then I will also be using mint green, lemon yellow, and pink. And then we'll also use white. And you only need one skein of each color. And then for the hook, I am going to use a G6 4.25 millimeter hook. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is make a granny square, and I'm going to make 6 granny squares of each color. It's very easy. I know you can do this. This is the purple, and I'm going to go ahead and tie my usual knot. If you prefer a slip knot, by all means do a slip knot. But I am going to do an old-fashioned knot right on my hook. Okay. There. And make sure that it is not too big, but that it just lightly glides up and down around your hook so that it's not too big or too tight. And we'll go ahead and wind it up on your hand there. And we're going to start with a chain 6. So yarn over and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have our chain of 6, and then you're going to join it and form a circle. So insert your hook into the first chain, just right underneath that strand, or right in between the strands. And then I always pull it tight a little bit just to get things together, and yarn over and do a slip stitch all the way through. I'm going to just throw the tail over that way. Okay. So now we're going to chain 3. Okay, so here's our little circle. So now we're going to make what I'm calling a petal, because it looks like a little petal. So we're going to make the petal, and we're going to start by chaining 3, and then we're going to crochet an additional 5 double crochets to make a total of 6. This first triple chain here is counting as the first double crochet. So go ahead and yarn over and do 5, and you're going to go inside the ring, yarn over and pull up your loop, and make your double crochet. If you need a refresher on how to do a double crochet, I have made a video on how to double crochet. And this baby blanket is nothing but double crochets, and so it is very, very easy. And so if you know how to make a chain and do a slip stitch, and if you know how to double crochet, then you can make this baby blanket. So go ahead and make 4 more double crochets in the ring. So counting the chain 3, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so now, if you've heard of a decrease or 2 or 3 together, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do 6 double crochet together or a decrease. And so what we're going to do is chain 3, just like that, and then turn your work this way, so you're looking at the back of it, and we're going to yarn over, and this is where the chain is coming out of, right here. So you're wanting to go into this next one here, because you're going to be completing 6 going this way, but we will not fully complete it until the end. So you'll yarn over and you'll insert in this one, not this one, slide underneath those 2 strands so that you know exactly where you are, and that's where you're supposed to be. Yarn over and pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. Now, instead of completing your normal double crochet like you would, you are going to yarn over and go into the next space, which is right there. So yarn over and go into the next one. And then you'll yarn over and pull up a loop. And now you've got 4 on there. And you're going to yarn over and pull through those first 2 loops again. And now you've got 3. And then you're going to go to the next one. Yarn over, insert in the next one, which is right here. And if you need to look at the top, you'll see that V. And you're sliding right underneath those 2 strands. And yarn over, draw through, and pull up a loop. And then you'll yarn over and draw through those first 2 loops again, and then you're going to stop right there. Now you've got 4, and you've got 2 more to go. You've got this one right here, and you can see the little V to know where you are. So you'll be going in right here, and then you'll be working in the final chain 3, which is acting as a double crochet. You'll be working in the top of this chain. So let's do these last 2. We're going to yarn over, insert at the top of this last double crochet here, right underneath the strands, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over, pull through those first 2 strands, first 2 loops. And now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you'll be doing a final to make 6. So you'll yarn over, and you're just going to do it in the top. And this one you have to kind of pick a strand, use your thumb, and just kind of get in there on in the top of that chain 3. Yarn over and pull through, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through those first 2 again, and now look what you have. This almost looks like a knitting project. So now you have 6 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6 double crochet going across this way. And so now you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 6 at once. So you're going to go all the way through just like that. And so it just makes this little petal shape. So it's very cute, very dainty. And then just pull through a little bit, not too hard, to bring them a little bit together, and finish it off with a chain to close it and pull it down a little bit. And that makes your little petal. And then you will chain 3, 1, 2, 3, So technically, with the closing chain, you've got 4 total. But just think of it as a chain to close and then chain 3. And then turn it back around this way to the front again, and you'll make another petal. And we're going to make 4 altogether. So you can take this and kind of slide it over now a little bit if you want. Just kind of hold tight with the ring and slide this over to make a little room. And we're going to make another one, and just kind of try to work behind the petal this way if you can. If you end up over, you can always just flip it. It's no big deal. So go ahead and yarn over, and we're going to make another one right back in the ring. And make that first double crochet just like that. And we're going to do 5 more. And we'll just do it one more time together. And before long, you will be doing this in your sleep, because this is, but you do want to definitely pay attention because you don't want to accidentally miss one and then you have to unravel. Unraveling is not fun in crochet when you get to a certain point and 5 rows back is not letting you continue with what you're doing because of one tiny little mistake. So always make sure to double check your work and make sure that you have the correct number of stitches that you're supposed to have before moving on. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 1 more to make the 6. Okay, so there I have my 6 double crochets. Pull this tight a little bit, and now I will chain 3. Okay, and then turn your work. So now you're looking at the back, and we're going to do that decrease one more time. So remember, so there is one right here that we're not doing, and this is, just think of it, this is a solid extension of this one from below. So we will not be working in this one. We are going to this one because we've already created a double crochet right here. So we will yarn over and really know where you are. Do not get lost. Always know where you are. Go right in there, slide underneath those 2 little strands that make that V shape. Yarn over, pull through, pull up a loop. Now you've got 3 loops on the hook, and you'll pull through those first 2 loops and stop right there. And now we're going to go to the next one, which is right here. We're going to yarn over, go right into the little hole that slides directly underneath the 2 strands that make the V, and pull up the loop, yarn over, and pull through those 2 loops. And now we have 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we'll do 3 more. Yarn over. This is the next one right here, and you can clearly see that's a double crochet. That's the hole it goes in, right underneath those strands. And do another start of a double, stop right there. Now we have 4, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through the first 2 loops, and now you're at 5. And then I do want to point out that when in the beginning, when you start a new row, you'll be, at this stage of the petal, you'll be working back into a chain 3, but because we have already established the first petal and we're moving on in the circle, this is now going to be a true double crochet. So it's a lot nicer once you get past that first petal. So go ahead and yarn over, and this is our last double crochet we're working into. And yarn over and pull up a loop. Pull through the first two, and there you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And go ahead and yarn over one last time and pull through all 6 loops at once. And then just pull it tight just a little bit to bring it together. And then do a closing chain. And then chain 3. And then you'll turn it back to the front, and there you have 2 little petals. 1, 2, and it'll, because it comes around this way, it makes it curve a little bit, which is really cute. So it's like a little petal. So do 2 more in this circle, and we will start the next row. Okay, I've just completed my 4th petal here, and I have completed my closing chain up here. Now instead of doing a chain 3 to close, turn it back to the front, and we are going to join at the top of this chain 3, the very first chain we made when starting this first petal here. So we're going to yarn over, and we are going to double crochet into the top of that chain 3. So yarn over and insert in the top chain of that chain 3 and make a double crochet. Pull through the first 2 and pull through the last 2 to make a double crochet. And in doing that, we are creating the last chain 3 space between these 2 petals. And we are also keeping a position on the right-hand side of this newly formed space so that we can do petals right here without being all the way over here. If we had just joined here, we'd be forced over here and we would have to turn and work the other direction. We're not going to be turning and working the opposite direction in this granny square. We're going to just keep going around and around this way. So here because we did a double crochet joining these 2 together, we are on the right side of this space. So go ahead and chain 3. And you're going to make a petal in this space. So all we need now, because we've done this chain 3, are 5 more double crochets right underneath this post. And I will see you back at the end of this petal. Okay, I've completed my petal and I have done a chain 3. And now to create the square, we are going to slide this over, and we are going to work another petal in the same space. And then in each space around, we are going to do another 2. So you'll always be chaining 3. You're going to chain 3 and do a petal here, chain 3 and do petal, chain 3, petal in this one, and then you're going to turn and do petal, chain 3, petal in this one until you get back to the first petal. So 2 in the next 4 spaces. Okay, I've completed all the spaces with 2 petals, and now to join like we did on the first row, I'm going to join to the top of this petal's chain 3 with a double crochet. So I have done my closing chain here, and I'm going to yarn over and insert in the top of this chain 3. and I will do a double crochet. And so that completes a chain 3 space with that double crochet. And we are to the right here, which is the perfect position to go ahead and put a petal in this new space we just created. So go ahead and chain 3. And so now we have our square, and we're going to be doing 2 more rounds to complete the square. And so now here we are going to have to keep it a square because now we have the 4 corners. And so if it helps you, let me take the hook out for a second. So we're going to do 1 petal here because now that is now the middle of the square. And this next 2 here is going to be a corner. And so if you would like to, you can loop a different colored yarn or same color yarn if you want, just a strip of yarn, tie it to mark your corners because you're going to have, this is your corner, and then when you turn it, you're going to work 1 petal here, and then you're going to turn it, and this is another corner, and the corners need 2 petals, and the side is going to have 1 petal. And when you're marking your corners, just a quick way to do it is just to put your hook in the space, take your strip right here, and you just pull it through, and then just grab one of the strands and just come all the way through again. And then that's just a quick way to tie it on, and then that way it won't accidentally come off either, and it will safely mark your space so that you know exactly where your corner is. So now I have made my side petal here, and so now I am at a corner, and so I can just take this out and go ahead and make 2 petals in this corner. And this really should be the only round where you would really need to mark your corners, because once this round is complete, the next round after that, it's a lot more obvious where your corners are. But if you still want to mark them just to be on the safe side, please do it. So let's go ahead and we're going to work into this corner space, and we're going to make 2 petals in this corner. Okay, so I have completed a side petal and another corner, and now I have chained 3, and I'm going to do another side petal here, and then here's my marker for another corner, and then a side petal here, and another corner, and so on. So go ahead and complete your square, and remember that when you get back to after you've completed this corner, and here's the marker, you're going to double crochet back into the top of this chain 3 right here on this first petal. Okay, so now I've completed the row, and I have joined it with a double crochet right here. And so now when you're looking at the square, it looks more like a square. It actually looks like a little granny square. And now that you have done this row, it is looking, I'll pull this out for a second, it's looking a lot more obvious where your corners are. So you're welcome to keep marking them with that little strip of yarn if that really helps you when you get to that corner to go, wait a minute, this is a corner. And to not just gloss over it and do 1 instead of the 2 that you need to keep it a corner. So feel free to do that if that is helping you. Otherwise, now we're looking at it and we are here, and it's almost like we've taken a space back. And so now there are 2 spaces on this side, and so we're going to do 1 petal in each of these spaces here on this side, and then when we get to the corner, we're going to do the 2 that keeps it a corner. And then same thing, we're going to do 1 petal here in this space, 1 petal here in this space, and then we're going to get to the corner and we're going to do our 2. So petal, chain 3, petal, keeping it, and we are going to go all the way around until we come back to here again, and we're going to double crochet to join the 2 together. So by now, I hope you are getting the hang of this, and this is the entire pattern. So let's go ahead. I'm going to work on this, and I will see you back when this row is done. This is the last row for this square, and so I'm going to do a petal, petal, corner, petal, petal, corner, and so on all the way around. And I will see you back at this starting point. Okay, so I have completed my row, my very last row, and so this is what the square looks like. And then what we're going to do now is we're just going to put a border around the edge to kind of finalize and square it off. So I connected the last 2 with the double crochet, and now I'm going to chain 1. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 4 half double crochets in this same space right here. So go ahead and yarn over, and if you don't know how to do a half double, you yarn over, and we're going to go underneath and pull up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over, and you have 3 loops on the hook, and you're going to go through all 3 loops all at once, and that is a half double crochet. So let's do one more together. Yarn over, go underneath the post of that double, yarn over again and pull up a loop, and you'll have 3, and then yarn over, and you're going to draw through all 3 loops on the hook. And you saw, sometimes I just have to wiggle. Sometimes you just got to wiggle yourself through. Okay, let's do 2 more. Gonna yarn over. I have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over. And you'll draw through all 3. And we'll do 1 more. And this is just going to make a solid border around the square. Okay, and so we're going to do 2 half doubles in the petal, and I'll show you where I thought was a good place to put them. So go ahead and yarn over. So if we're looking at this petal and we turn it towards us, this side double right here, I've just decided to go basically just underneath that double crochet stitch of the side of the petal, and that just seems like a good place to go. And so pulling up a loop and drawing through all 3. And then if you look at it again, there is this little strand of yarn where we did our closing chain on the top of the petal. So yarn over and slide right underneath that closing chain strand. And I have found that is also a good spot, just like that. And then we're going to go right into the next space and do another 4 half double crochet. So go ahead and do that for this space and this petal, and I will show you how to do the corner, and then we'll just finish this square. Okay, so here we are at the corner. So to make a nice solid corner with these half doubles, I think it looks good to do 4 half double, chain 1, and 4 half double in the same space. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to do the 4 half double, in the space. So there's one. Okay, so that is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then kind of slide them over a little bit. Tighten up your tension and chain 1 and then do another 4 in the same space. And I think this makes a really nice strong corner for the square. And when you really get going and you become pretty fast, for me, this takes about an hour. I know that sounds like a long time, but time really flies by when you're having fun. And if you want, play your favorite music, or you can listen to a book on tape, or you know, all those things that you normally like to do, you could be crocheting at the same time. Okay, so that's 4 already. 1, 2, 3, 4. And see, that just makes a nice solid corner for the square. And so what you're going to do is you're going to follow this same pattern all the way down, and you're going to do your corner all the way down the side to the other corner and all the way around. And I will see you back right here. Okay, I have made it to my last half double crochet right in the top of this petal and under that closing chain strand. And so now here I am back at the beginning. And sometimes for me, this has been a little, you really can do it anywhere you want, but this first V right here is actually that first chain 1 I did in the beginning. So it's actually this chain here, or this, it's really this V here, not this one, but this one that is on the top of that half double. So you can actually do it there if you want. It really doesn't matter, but if you want to stick to stitch to stitch, you can slide it in underneath here. So we're going to join with a slip stitch. And also if you want to count backwards, that's also helpful, because here is the last half double. So it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. You're going to just slide underneath those 2 strands and then yarn over and pull through and slip stitch all the way through. And then you're going to yarn over again and pull up a long loop. And I always like to put my index finger right here so that I don't cut the wrong one. And you just cut that yarn and pull that tight. And there you have it, your little petal square. So now for this particular blanket, I am doing 6 of each color. So I'm going to make 5 more of these purple squares. So if you are following along, go ahead and make 6 squares of each, or if you want a larger blanket, you can make more if you want to. And then after we're all done, we're going to sew them all together. And this blanket does take some time. With any granny square blanket, this is going to take some time. How did you do? These are my 4 different colors, and I have done 6 squares of each color. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to start with purple and go to pink, then green, and yellow. Okay, so I think for this pattern, how I'm going to do this with the 4 different colors is this row here is going to be my color lineup, like my color order. And so I'm doing purple, pink, green, yellow. And so now I'm going to start the next row with the last color of the row. So I'm going to go yellow, and then going back, the next color is purple, pink, green. So then this next row, I'm going to start with the last color of the last row, which is green. And so I'm going to go green. And so what's my next color? Yellow, because of this row here. So the next color is yellow after green, and then purple, pink, if that makes any sense. Let's go ahead and sew it all together. Okay, so now that you have your color pattern in place, we're going to start sewing them together. And we're actually going to join all the squares with a single crochet. So go ahead and tie your yarn onto your hook. I just do a regular knot. You can do a slip knot if you'd like. And so I've just folded it over and gently join it to your hook. And I just cross over and make just a regular knot. And now we're looking at our rows, and so these are the first two rows. So we are going to be not working on the sides, but we are going to be joining the row this way. So take your first two squares, and we're going to single crochet them together this way. So line up your corners as best you can. And because these squares are identical, you can start in the exact same spot to make sure that you are crocheting them evenly, because they are the exact same pattern. And so I am going to start right here in the corner. So remember, the corner is 4 half double crochets, a chain 1, and then 4 more half double crochets. So we can actually join right in the chain 1 space. So go ahead and put your hook right in that chain 1 space, and then take your other square, and remember, wrong sides are together. So this is the front side, and that's the front side there. So the wrong sides are together. And go ahead and find the chain 1 space of the corner of the yellow. And if you have to count backward, you can. I see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is right there. Okay. All right. So go ahead and just kind of line everything up like this, and have your white right like this. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and put it over that way. And you're going to just yarn over and pull through the spaces, and you're going to make a single crochet. Okay? And now everything should be lined up. You should be crocheting underneath the V shape of the stitch, and you'll have 4 right here, so you'll know that you are exactly lined up. So there's the first one, and you look, and if you have to count back, you can, or from the space to make sure you're in the right one. And there's the second one. Yarn over and pull through both of those, and then yarn over and complete your single crochet. Okay, let's do it again. So the next one is right here. So you're going to slide underneath, look at your yellow, it is right there, and you're just going to yarn over and pull through both, yarn over and complete a single crochet. And after a while you'll get really good at this and you'll start going faster and faster. Okay, so just follow the line and go all the way to the end until you get to your chain one space right here. Okay, so I have sewn all the way across and I have made my very last single crochet in the chain one space of the corner. Okay, and so now we're going to take the next two squares, which are right here. Remember, wrong sides together. Okay, and you're going to hold them together and we're going to go right into the next set of chain one spaces. And just make sure you kind of keep a nice tension. Make sure this is nice and, tight but not too tight. Okay, and so holding them like this, go ahead and find, it's very obvious on this one, this is the chain one space, and going on this corner here, right here. Okay, and then just pull them tight. Okay, get them back aligned. And then just pull these together so that they're nice and tight like this before going into the single. And then just go ahead and join. Okay, and then just go all the way and then we'll join the next two. Okay, so I have joined the second set. And now we're going to go ahead and pick up our next two, which are right here. And so again, just keep those wrong sides together. And I am stopped in the chain one space at the corner, and I'm just going to pick right back up with these together. And I'm going to find that chain one space in the corner, which is right here. And for the pink, it's right there. And also I want to point out too that if during one of your squares you started daydreaming and you don't have an exact match, maybe with this corner you did your chain space and then instead of the 4 half double to complete the corner you did 3, that's okay. Just line everything up and do your best and just line it up, and it shouldn't matter if it's not exactly perfect. So just do the best you can and just eyeball it to whatever looks good and line it up and sew it through. Okay, so I've completed my last join of squares, and so here I am in the chain one space, joining the last 4 half double crochets from the squares together. And so I'm going to just yarn over again and pull through and bring up a tail, and I always stick my finger right in the loop like this so that I don't end up cutting the wrong one. And so I'm just going to snip this off and pull it a little tight. So here we have the first set of joined rows. So when you unfold them and you bring out the sides this way, and I will back up the camera in just a minute here, you will see that you get a very distinct ridge separating the colors. It is a very neat and clean way to join the squares, and I like the dimension that it adds to it, and it really separates and defines the colors. So we're going to do the rest of these. So again, so now these are joined. So with your next row, you're going to line up your colors again, and you're going to do just like how we did before. You're going to tie on to your hook again, and you're just going to bring the wrong sides up together, just like you did here, and start in the chain one space of the corner and work your way all the way across. And you're just going to keep doing that over and over and over again until you've completed all of these rows. Okay, so I am done joining the rows going across this way. So you can see now everything is joined. And now what we're going to do is we are going to just turn our work, and we are going to be this way, and we are going to do the exact same thing going all the way up with what's left. And so we're going to tie our yarn onto our hook, and we're going to start in the chain one space with these corners, and we're going to join with single crochets all the way across. Something that I want to point out to you is, so you can see that I have started my rows going vertically, going the long ways. And so here I am at the intersection where I had gone across with the single crochets joining. And so when you come to that row, to the row of single crochets of the border, go ahead and just chain one, and then jump it and go straight into your next half double crochets. So we're going to jump this and slide into those stitches just like that, and pull through like we have been and complete that single crochet. And so it jumps the row and makes it nice and even. Okay, so I've done about 3. So now when I unfold it like this, you can see it just evenly jumped it, and it's nice and smooth. Okay, so go ahead and finish out your joining rows, and we will come back together to put a border around the blanket to finish. I have just completed my last connecting row with the single crochets, and now what I'm going to do is, instead of cutting off the yarn, I'm going to chain one, and I'm going to go ahead and border the entire blanket now with half double crochets. So here is my next half double from a square that I'm going to work into right there. So remember to yarn over and slide underneath the 2 little V-shaped strands and do your half double crochet. Okay, so now I have come to one of my single crochet border rows, connector rows. If you have a tail here that you did not weave back into this row, it's so easy just to weave it in on the border row. To skip this row, I'm going to chain one, and then when I go to my next half double here, I can just include the strand. So go ahead and yarn over, lay the strand on top here, and so when you go into your stitch and you yarn over and pull up your loop, you have included the strand in your stitch. And that's just an easy way to weave it in without weaving it in later. So if you like this, you can go ahead and do it this way, so that while you're making your border here, you're weaving in an end at the same time. Okay, so one more time, yarn over, and just keep it nice and flush on the edge there. Find your next stitch. And pull through all three. And you just keep doing that. This is very long, so you don't have to do, you can do about here and then snip it off if you want. Obviously this tail is very long. So, but yeah, just do, you know, an inch or two, whatever you choose to do. And that's just a nice, easy way to weave it in. So I've come to the corner of the blanket, which is also the corner of one of the squares. And so here I am at that chain one space that makes the corner of the square. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to yarn over and insert directly into the chain one space and make a half double crochet there. And then I'm just going to chain one and do another half double in the same chain one space. Okay, and so that will make the corner of the blanket. So I've come to the end, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pick a half double crochet. I've got a few lined up going this way on the corner here. What you can do is go back to front and just go anywhere you can make your way into. So I'm just picking a random spot here because it's closest to where I am right here. So just go back to front, and then you'll see you've got this bit of a post right here. So I'm going to stay in front of it and go over it and back this way and grab the yarn and pull through like that. And then I'm going to just keep going to finish it off. And this is just one way. You can do it another way if you wish, but this is just the way I'm going to do it for this particular blanket to stay behind the stitches going this way. And then I'm going to yarn over one more time and pull through and snip it off and tighten it. And that way we can finish it off that way. And then I'm just going to take my yarn needle and weave this tail in this way. Okay, so this is the final blanket with all of the squares joined together with a white yarn single crochet, joining all of them together. And this blanket, I think, turned out pretty good. I think it's very cute, and I think this would make a really nice gift, if not for yourself. Please like this video if you liked it, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next project. Bye.